Welcome to Hard Reboot, the show where we revisit the toys and games that defined our childhood and see if they still hold up today.
Today we're diving into Skylanders, one of the biggest toy-to-life games ever made.
We're breaking down how it worked, how the games evolved, and whether this was actually genius or just a really expensive nostalgia. First, we're going to get right into what the toys were. We're going to break everything down for you guys. Now, Skylanders weren't just toys, right? There was something beyond that.
They were something beyond that. They were like they're not real life characters, but they were like characters you could have like a bond with. You know, these were things like you grew up with, and you could play as that character, not just have the figures that you see on the table here.
Right? So you'd have a portal of power, which we'll get into later, and you'll place a character on it. So not only do you have an action figure, you have a character in a video game. Now, Skylanders, they first released in 2011, but there are 6 games in the series, so it ran for quite some time, didn't it?
It did run for quite some time.
Now, I think we have one image right now to throw up on screen of the box art of the first game.
Yes, we do.
And the ways they were sold, Dakota, so when you buy the game, you would get a starter pack.
You would.
And it would come with a pre-selection of a few characters that were essential to complete the game.
Correct. I believe in the first game, you got 3 characters. You got Spyro, because the first game was Spyro's Adventures, which you'll see when the graphic comes up. And then it also came with Gilgrunt, who was another main Skylander. And
yeah, there were quite a few, right?
Yeah, and then there was also, I believe it came with Trigger Happy, which
I don't think Trigger Happy was a base game. I think it was Stealth Elf.
Stealth. Oh, yeah. Right. It was Gilgrunt. Trigger Happy was a base game. He was in the first one, but
he was an original game character. Yeah. And so not only did it come like a set of characters with the game, characters were sold in combo packs. They were sold individually. And there were also booster packs where you could get things like magic items, battle packs, or even adventure packs, which were like bonus levels sold standalone that you would also put on the Portal of Power. So that is the base game. You were right. It's Trigger Happy, Spyro, and Gilgrunt. Wow. Good pull, man. And so there are a few more images we're going to have for you of all the other ways that Skylanders were packaged in stores. We'll just get these going rapid fire here for you guys.
These are the single packs here of Prison Break.
Dude, I loved Prison Break. That was a great one.
Same, yeah.
And I think we should have some battle packs coming up.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
There's
this
a
is
combo
multi-pack, so this is where you'd get 2 or more Skylanders in the pack.
Lightning Rod was a goat.
Lightning Rod was the goat. He actually, it's sad that he didn't actually make it past the second game for any other generations.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. And so there's like a little graphic. You can see the adventure packs, the battle packs, all the magic items. And so these would be sold in combo sets. You wouldn't have to buy every single one individually, but it'd be like $30. You'd get a level and a couple of magic items. It was pretty cool.
Sometimes the magic, like the levels, the bonus levels, they would come with Skylanders. But it would be certain ones. I do have a couple of them. I didn't bring them today, but some of them did come with Skylanders, not just magic packs.
And throughout the generations of Skylanders, you would have special editions get released. We'll get a real good shot on that right here. And so there's lots of different variants they've created. This one is like a solid color rare edition. They also had like a special dark edition that came out in the second game in the starter kit. And then Dakota has a really cool Halloween variant that he can show you.
So this is from the second game. This is Pumpkin Eye Brawl. This is the Halloween edition. And then some of them in the later games, this one came out. This is Love Potion Pop Fizz, which is the Valentine's Day exclusive. And some of the Skylanders were lucky to get legendary forms, so they would have boosted stats and they'd be black and gold. And only in the first game, for all the, I think it was up to 8 original characters from Spyro's Adventures, they became Eon's Elite. And these would become max level. I think it was 200 extra stats in each thing. And I was unfortunately stupid enough as a child to open this Eon's Elite Zook. But I do have my other ones sealed. But this is one that I just play with because I opened it as a kid.
Well, you might as well play with them if you buy them, right? That's the point of buying toys.
Yes.
You aren't a real fan if you don't play with your toys. If they sit in boxes collecting dust, you're a fake fan.
Exactly.
You buy it, you better play with it. Now, we gotta show everyone what the Portal of Power is, because how the heck do we get these action figures into our video game? Bang. There's your portals, different portals for different systems, and then there's some weird looking ones at the bottom.
Yeah. So the one in the middle would be for Skylanders Trap Team. So that's the fourth game, and that one introduced Traptanium crystals, where you could trap the villains that you beat in the game, and you could play as the villains. And then the ones on the bottom left and bottom right, they're the same one, and that is for Skylanders Superchargers, and that's where you could put vehicles on, because that was like the gimmick for that game, which we'll be talking about a bit later. But you could also put the Traptanium crystals from Trap Team in
backwards compatibility.
Backwards compatibility.
That's a big thing, because if you're going to spend thousands of dollars collecting all of these characters, they better work in every single game. My favorite part with the Portal of Power, especially just when the first game was the only one you had and it was new and shiny, it would change colors based on the element of your character that you had active on the portal. Yeah. Now, the great thing about it, you can't see, so we're not going to zoom in, but in the bottoms of these bases, there are NFC chips, and that's what the portal would read to know what character you have. And if you had multiple of each character, the chips would store data separately, so you could build them different ways because they had different upgrade trees that you could get into, right? And so some people found it worth it to invest in multiple of the same figurine. Yep. I wasn't really too concerned with that. You don't really need to.
No, I have a couple of the same ones, but I don't. There's not many that I have doubles of. Ones that I like a lot, like my Thumbback. I do have 2 of him, but some of them, it's just not worth it to really have. If you're just like playing the game for fun, you can just buy one and you'll be good.
The only time I ever had duplicates was when wires got crossed around Christmas time, and I would get lots of Skylanders at Christmas, and everyone in the family, they didn't know what these things were. They're just buying figurines from me, right? Now we're gonna jump into our next segment here, where we start to break down gameplay elements and everything that goes into the systems within the game. So the first thing we should talk about, right, we've been hinting at it a little bit, is the element system.
Yes. So in the first 3 games, there was fire, water, life, undead, tech, earth, air, and magic. So that's a whole lot. That is 8 types of characters there, and it was up until the 4th game, which is Trap Team. We have him on the table here. That's when this is when the light element was introduced. We'll show him on camera here. So this is the first ever light character. I do not have the dark version with me, like the dark element with me, but that was another type that was introduced in the 4th game.
Now let's show everyone one of the cooler parts of Skylanders is how every base of the character would represent what element they were. So we'll get another close shot. So you've got tech right there. You've got fire. You've got earth. You've got air. And then there's the magic base and the water base. Am I missing any here, DK? Oh, we're missing undead.
Undead.
Can't forget undead.
And life.
Has a little skull, and then life.
As you can see, he's got the leaves there.
Yeah, and then there is the light and dark. We have a light base. We don't have a dark base. So even if you weren't too familiar with what was going on, or you had a friend coming over and you didn't really want to explain it, you're like, just look at the thing, look at the base, and just like it'll tell you. You know what I mean? Now, the next thing we got to get into is, what did elements mean? Now we have a graphic. It's similar to Pokemon.
Yeah.
It'll show you the strengths and weaknesses of every single type. It should be coming up on screen soon. So that again is a chart comparing all of them and the way they flow. And then we have a second one we'll play for you, showing exactly where the strengths and weaknesses lie within each element.
Yeah.
And basically, similar to other games with elements, obviously water would beat fire. I mean, do you remember the rest of them, DK?
Yeah, so air, fire and magic would be good against air,
right?
And air would be good against life and ground. Ground would be good against tech, and then obviously life would be good against water, and so on. You can see the circle, the elemental circle.
Nobody knows what's going on in that chart.
I'm saying you can see the elemental circle here.
You can see it.
There's a bunch of arrows here.
Seeing it does not help the understanding.
So I'm going to get into explaining that. And the magic element and the fire element would be good against the undead. The undead would be good against life and ground, which I've already said. Life is actually only good against water, which is quite weird.
It's a pretty terrible element to use.
That is a pretty terrible element.
Yeah.
Ground is actually good against water, which is unique.
Listen, I think they got the point here, man. If you're a real gamer, you're going to pick your favorite character, and you're only going to use him the entire time, right?
Pretty much.
Like, the only guy I ever used was Slam Bam. Let's see if we can find him in here, right here. This guy was my favorite. This is the second variant of him. This is from the second game. We'll get close on that. He had an original version as well, but, you know, if you're a real gamer, you just pick one and you run it the entire game. Now, we're going to get into telling you about every single title, because like we said, there were 6 titles, and they all had gimmicks, aside from the first one where the gimmick itself was like Skylanders and playing with a character like that you owned in real life. And so as we talk about it, we'll throw them up on screen here. We already played the box art for you for Spyro's Adventure. There it is again. And that game, again, it was pretty generic. It was just the base rules of Skylanders, elements, characters, and you would run through and you'd solve puzzles in the world, you'd defeat enemies, and you'd play through your missions. And then the next one.
The next one would be Giants, and we have the box art there for you. And then we have a picture showing all the Giants. And the gimmick for Giants here, they were pretty much the bigger versions of Skylanders.
They were giant.
They were giant, yeah. And so these guys have boosted health, boosted stats, and these guys are just big units. Now, we actually have a couple here on the table.
We've got plenty, actually. We've got, I think,
4 of them.
4 of the 7 that existed, I think, right?
Correct, yes. So we have Pothead here. We have
Thumpback, the goat,
my
right
goat.
there.
He's my favorite.
That's the greatest one.
Then we got a limited edition T-Rex, and then a limited edition Pumpkin Eyebrow. Right, so those guys, that was the gimmick for that game. Giant Skylanders.
They could go to different areas.
They could go to different areas.
There were specific puzzles in the world where you could only enter that area with a giant of the corresponding element, right?
Correct.
And so you'd have to figure out which guy you needed to get in there, and then you would use that giant character to solve that puzzle or defeat that enemy. Now, moving on to the next game, it was Swap Force after, right? The third title.
Yes.
So we'll get that box art up on screen for you for Swap Force. And the big thing about Swap Force is you could take the characters apart. They would come in half. You didn't break it. It was designed that way.
And I only have one here today. I was kind of dumb and I didn't bring any more. But if we'll go to the close-up camera here, you can see this is Trap Shadow. He's actually one of the rare Swap Forces, but as you can see, I just pulled them apart there, and they're held together by 2 magnets. But there's two chips in here, so they would read the top and the bottom. So if I had a different top on it, it'd be the bottom of Trap Shadow and the top of another one.
And it was pretty reactive in game. The moment you took his top off the portal and the base was still there, it would just be like a little cloud, like a loading kind of thing. You put a different top on, boom, the game knew which top and which bottom. It would mix the elements. You'd have different abilities, and it'd be pretty awesome. And so those are the original Swap Force Skylanders right there.
And they also have some special powers. They have, I think there's about 7 of them. And they have one's like a sneaky element here. So this is Trap Shadow. He has a sneaky element. I don't know if you'll be able to see it there.
Maybe you lean in, get closer to the camera. Oh, there you go.
Yes, you can see there that gold border there. That means he is a sneaky type. Then there's Ladder. There is Rocket. There is Digging. There is Speed. I think that's it. I
think you hit all the bases. Yeah. Now, the great thing was the bottom had the ability or superpower, and the top had the attack set. Yeah. And so you could really mix and match. Like, I like this guy's attack moves, but I need this speed power to solve this level. You mix and match as you please. Now, the next game, I got to tell you, my wallet was hurting when they released a 4th Skylanders game. Yeah. So from here on out, you're going to have way more expertise than I will. But the 4th game was Trap Team. We do have that box already for you as well. There's Chaos in the middle, the big bad guy. Now, what was different about Trap Team? I mean, how do they keep innovating at this point?
So at this point, the 4th game, Trap Team, came out. You could capture and play as the villains in this game. So I actually have one of the elemental traps here. This is a magic trap. So any villain that was a magic type, you could put in the Portal of Power and you could play as them. And then also in that game, which you've already shown him, but they had Trap Masters, which they had Traptanium weapons, which was the signature.
Traptanium.
Yep, which is the signature thing and the big thing that the villains are trying to go for in Skylands. And the Portal Masters and the characters are trying to protect and keep Skylands safe from them trying to get the Traptanium.
So that was the big special element for Trap Teams, was capturing enemy characters and using them for your own gain.
Yeah.
Now, the next game, the 5th game, was Superchargers.
Yes.
We do have that box art ready for you as well. What was happening in Superchargers? We're just driving cars now, right? Skylander cars.
Yeah, so Superchargers was actually not as bad as people say it was. I have one of the characters here. I don't have her car. But if you had the corresponding character to that car, not only would the car get boosted stats, the Skylander would get boosted stats and then unlock bonus moves, which was super sick.
So if you kept spending money,
you'd get boosted Skylanders. That's
buy
all I'm
more
saying.
toys, guys. Ask your parents, right?
That's all I did for my parents. I just asked. I can't say I succeeded.
But that is cool, right?
Yeah, it is cool.
If it wasn't the 5th game and didn't already
game,
own like 200 different collectibles,
yeah,
maybe I would have gotten into buying some Skylanders cars. Yeah. But what was the point of having these vehicles in game? Was it racing, or did I just like defeat enemies with cars?
In certain levels, you needed the vehicles to proceed. So some of them you need to go underwater, some of them you need to go in air, and some of them you would need to drive on terrain and use the weapons on the vehicles to complete the certain levels.
So they were integral parts of the puzzles and the levels.
Correct.
Now, the final game in the series, at least currently, is Skylanders Imaginators.
Correct. And this was the last game. Now, this one, not only was there senseis in this game. So
what am I holding right now?
So right now you are holding a imagination crystal.
Whoa.
So
you can use your imagination to figure out what that looks like.
So pretty much an imagination crystal, you created your own Skylander. So you could go through the game, you'd buy senseis, which are the base Skylanders, like for say the Giants. But then also on top of that, you would buy imagination crystals.
Extra items you need to buy.
Extra items you needed to buy, correct. But actually in the starter pack, it actually came with one, which is pretty sick.
Well, it should come with the key piece of the gimmick, right?
Yeah. But anyways, you could unlock throughout the game so many different parts and create so many different Skylanders. I think on the release of the game, they said there was over like 1 million different combinations you can do for different Skylanders, and then there's different attack types and all that. It's really, really cool. It's a lot cooler than people say it is. A lot of people hate on the game.
I think it's less about the idea of the game, and it's more, it took them way too long and too many wrong turns to get to what really was like the heart of Skylanders, right? Because first you'd pick your characters, and then there were bigger characters that are exploring different puzzle solving mechanics. And they had the idea with Swap Force, they didn't know how to execute. And then by the time they got around to Imaginators, I think it had taken too long, because it is a really cool concept, but most of their core fan base had aged out of it, right? Yeah. They were like adults now, they have to pay rent. They can't afford to buy $200 worth of collectibles every month. At least not for Skylanders, right? Yeah. They'll buy something maybe a little bit more.
Cards.
Yeah, cooler like Pokemon cards, right?
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get into the last segment here, which is just more of an analysis of the Skylanders franchise. We're going to talk about what made people fall in love with it, the characters, the world, and why people were so compelled to continue buying all of these characters for 6 iterations of the game, and then whether or not it was worth it. But we should start with where you were playing, right? You were protecting the Skylands.
Yeah.
Now, we have an image of that. It was a bunch of floating islands, a lot of lovable characters like your Skylanders, and someone was trying to tear that apart, and we'll get to him in a second. But what was the playable experience like in the Skylands? But tell me about the main base.
The main base, just traveling around Skylands as a kid, like you're seeing this whole world, and with a character that you can like actually play as and see in front of you physically, was just so cool to like explore and like.
It was a great time.
It was a great time. I'd say it's the best game I've ever played.
Right, you would run around. There would be upgrade vendors. There'd be item vendors. There's like a training range where you can try out all your abilities.
Yeah.
You know, you would be able to just talk to NPCs. And they had some really great voice actors. Now, there were some main characters as well. Like you mentioned, that special edition you have is from Eon's Elite. Who is Eon?
So Master Eon is, I guess like I wouldn't say the master of all Skylands, but he is the master who trained the Skylanders themselves, I guess you would say.
I think he's like the energy source, he controls it, right? He's the protector
He's the protector of the Skylanders and the Skylands. And he guides you throughout the game
He's the
with
narrator as well.
He is the narrator, yeah.
Right. He's always watching over you.
Mhm.
So he's like a godlike figure in the Skylands.
Pretty much. And with that, you had someone else as a companion with you who you meet in the very first game. His name is Flynn.
Best character in a video game, by the way.
100%.
Who is he voiced by, DK?
Oh, I forget his name, but he voices Gronk.
Yeah.
And stuff from Emperor's New Groove. I forget his name, but I love the voice actor.
Do you know who else he voices?
Who?
You're missing a big one.
Joe Swanson.
Joe Swanson, right? You're essentially playing with a toned down Joe Swanson as your sidekick through the entire first game.
And who wouldn't want
It's
to do that?
fantastic.
Finn makes an appearance, and it's a big appearance in every single game.
Every single game.
Yeah, from Spyros to Imaginators, and he takes you on his plane, his ship.
His hot air balloon.
His hot air balloon eventually turns into a plane in the third game, and he pretty much is your companion, getting you through Skylands, getting you to stop the villain of the game, the main villain who will show up here. His name is Chaos. He's a bald little dude who
He's annoying too.
He is very annoying, and he wants to pretty much take over Skylands. And he wants Skylands all to himself, and he wants to
steal all the magic. In the first game, at least, he has this giant crystal that he's trying to trap all of the magic and power of all the elements into. And that's your goal in the first one, is you got to help Eon defeat him and break his crystal, and obviously like defeat Chaos, right?
Defeat Chaos, yes. And throughout the games, he has different ways to try and get Skylands to be his own. And then in the fourth game, the Doom Raiders are introduced. There is 7 of them, I believe, there. And Chaos joins the Doom Raiders to try and take over Skylands. And eventually the Doom Raiders cross over Chaos, and they trap him. So we actually help Chaos get out. And then Chaos turns back on us, which is not a surprise, really, after you played the game so many times, and takes Traptanium and tries to pretty much kill us.
There's a lot of double crossing.
There's a lot of double crossing, and then throughout the game, and then the final game, with the Imagination Crystals, Chaos creates his own Doomlanders. So we have Skylanders. He has his evil ones, the Doomlanders, and it's a whole. He just fails and fails and fails, and needs so many different ways.
He's kind of a moron.
Yeah, if you have so much magic power and you're losing to like a little molten dog,
right?
Like, come on now, you're losing to a little molten dog.
Like, you're losing to this thing. What is this? It's like a lizard. You're losing to a lizard, guys.
That is a fruit lizard. His
like,
name
this
is
Chaos
Camo.
guy's an idiot.
He is, yeah.
So, I think the only thing we have left to talk about is, do these toys still hold up? Like, if you were to go back, how is it? Obviously, physical form factor, they're still here. They're great. They're super durable. I mean, part of the design was that you were meant to play like action figures with them. Like, I don't know about you, but I would go to my friend's house. And I would genuinely, like, we would sit there and we'd have a fist fight with our Skylanders in our hands. It'd be like, this guy's stronger. I'll show you. And you just bash them into each other, right?
That's why I always brought this
because
tier 3 Terrafin.
Poke your friend's eye out with those claws. That's crazy.
Yeah, just get right in there.
Right? Exactly. So I think they definitely hold up in that sense. And in terms of fun, going back, you said you recently went and speed ran every single game.
I have recently sped run all 6 games on Nightmare mode, which is the hardest mode to play on. It was a fun but also not fun experience. I tried to speed run it without losing a life. I failed on 1 game.
Which game?
It was Swap Force.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a difficult game.
It was a difficult game, especially trying to figure it out when you're like 12 years old.
Yeah, I mean, probably pretty dumb back then. I know I was.
I know you were.
Yeah, right? So going back, I think they're definitely still fun. It definitely will still hold up.
Yeah, I still play it till this day. Actually, I played it on Friday.
Nice. Now, there's a lot of nostalgia going into it, but if you had to look at it through a practical lens, do you think all of the money that you had your family or that you yourself spent on these toys, was it worth it?
Personally, for me, do I think it was worth it? Yes.
I would agree.
But would, for say, I don't know, our teacher Tim?
Does Tim think spending thousands of dollars on Skylanders is worth it?
He
says yes. Okay,
well, never mind that.
So the global consensus is that buy as many Skylanders as you can.
Take your mom's credit card.
Go beyond your means and collect every single one.
Exactly. This isn't even my full collection.
No,
this is a handful.
I didn't even bring mine. Like, we wouldn't have room for everything on this
No.
table. I mean, we'd have a floor shot. It would be messy for you guys. There's thousands of them.
I have almost every single base Skylander.
There you go. Now listen, if there's a toy or game you guys want us to reboot next, let us know.
Thanks for watching Hard Reboot.